Amazing Bats, a Girl Scout Silver Award project by me, Emma Forrester.
Bats?
When I first talked about doing my Girl Scout Silver Award on bats, most people got a surprised and almost disgusted look on their face before saying,
Really? That's, interesting.
Whenever people hear about bats, they always think of the creepy ones we hear in stories. Because of this, people have developed a fear of these creatures, which is leading to a decrease in their numbers. I took an interest in bats when I talked to Justin Wages of Placerland Trust. He told me he was worried when he thought he displaced some bats during renovation activity in Swainson's Preserve in Lincoln. He was wondering if I could help get these bats back. So I decided I would take action by raising awareness and building bat boxes to provide roosting sites for bats. Truth is, bats aren't as bad as people make them out to be at all. Actually, they are so incredibly important, but so misunderstood. One major myth is that bats are blind, but that is so not true. They see just fine in the daylight, but they hunt at night, so they don't rely on their vision. But instead, they use echolocation, which are high-pitched squeaks, so they can tell where an object is in the dark. Even without echolocation, though, they have excellent hearing. Check out this video of a pallid bat.
He has huge ears, which means he hears very, very well.
Another common myth is that bats fly into your hair. Actually, bats couldn't care less about your hair. They are usually seen swooping towards your face, not to attack you, but to get a bug flying near you. Also, these creatures only bite in self-defense if they are picked up or handled, so they don't attack people at all. Many people think that bats are just like winged rodents. Truth is, they're closer related to humans than rats or mice. Bats have hair and give birth to about 1 or 2 young each year. Also, bats have the same structure of a hand as humans. They also live much longer than rodents, whose lifespan is less than 5 years. Bats can live up to 30. Wow! In movies, you always have a blood-sucking vampire bat, right? Well, those are some pretty inaccurate stereotypes. In reality, there are only about 3 species of vampire bats, who live mostly in South America. The bats only need about 2 tablespoons of blood and never, ever take from humans. They usually feed off large animals, like cattle, when they are sleeping. Having rabies is possibly the worst myth that bats are blamed for. Yes, all mammals can contract rabies, including bats, but very few actually do get rabies. Actually, dogs are the leading cause of human death from rabies. Even with the small number of bats with rabies, never ever touch a bat found on the ground. Bats are super amazing. There's over 1,000 species of bats in the world that make up 20% of the mammal species. Bats have been around for 50 million years. The earliest fossils look very much like the skeletons of bats today. This tells us they haven't changed much. Bats are really clean and groom themselves almost constantly. Bats are really good for pest control. They eat huge amounts of bugs. 30 million Mexican free-tail bats can eat over 250 tons of insects every summer night. A single colony of 150 big brown bats can protect local farmers from up to 33 million or more rootworms each summer. A nursing little brown bat mother can eat more than her body weight nightly. Check out this video, see how much bats really love bugs. Bats play a major role in pollinating plants. This is important for fruit production economies. Plants like bananas, mangoes, and almonds all depend on bats for pollination and seed dispersal. Desert ecosystems also rely on nectar-feeding bats to pollinate giant cacti. The African tree of life depends entirely on bats for pollination. Without bats, the tree of life could die out, threatening one of our planet's richest ecosystems. Bats also have important agriculture and medical benefits, too. An enzyme in the vampire bat's saliva is one of the best medicines to treat stroke victims with. Also, bat droppings are incredibly rich fertilizers and can even support entire ecosystems. Many species of bats are declining. Of the 45 kinds of bats living in the United States, these 7 are in danger of becoming extinct. The greater Mexican long-nosed bat, the gray bat, the Indiana bat, the Hawaiian hoary bat, the Virginia big-eared bat, the Ozark big-eared bat, and the lesser long-nosed bat. But why are bats dying out? The biggest threat to bats are humans. People will kill bats out of fear or ignorance. Bats are also the most vulnerable when they're hibernating. When they're disturbed by humans entering their caves, they use up some of the stored fat needed to get through the winter. If they're disturbed too often, the bats will starve to death before spring. Mother bats may also drop their babies if they get frightened by intruders. The babies, which are too young to fly, will fall and die. Another reason why these bats are dying out is because of the white nose syndrome. It's a fungal infection that's killing large numbers of hibernating bats in North America. The white nose syndrome is thought to interrupt hibernation and cause the bats to die from loss of energy store. The most important thing that I can do is to help educate people about how amazing bats are. Hopefully, this presentation has helped you understand bats better. I met a lady passionate about bats, Quirky Quirk of NorCal Bats, who helped me share the wonders of bats with other Girl Scouts. As part of my project, Quirky and I set up a bat walk. Quirky gave us a fantastic educational presentation at the Yolo Bypass Wildlife Center. She even introduced us to live bats. Our highlight of the night was watching thousands of Mexican free-tailed bats emerge from under the bridge to hunt for insects. This is what it looked like before. And then the bats came. Besides the amazing bat walk, as part of my project, I used plans from Bat Conservation International to build nursery boxes for Placerland Trust. Bat boxes are designed to match bats' needs. Bats like tight spaces that they can keep nice and warm for their babies, so the spaces inside are very narrow. Boxes are painted a darker color and sealed to absorb and maintain heat. Grooves inside the box make it easy for the bats to climb up. Swainson's Preserve Bat Boxes. We mounted these 2 boxes on the north side of the barn at different heights to see if bats preferred one height over the other. Here's some bats that might make it to the Swainson Preserve Bat Boxes. The Mexican free-tailed bat, the Yuma myotis, the big brown bat, the California myotis, and the pallid bat. If you're driving south on Highway 65, you can see the barn with the bat boxes. It can take a few years for bats to decide to roost in a bat box. Hopefully, we'll have new tenants soon. For more information on bats, you can take a look at any of these websites. I know I used all of them on this presentation. I would also like to give a very special thank you to Justin Wages of Placerland Trust, Quirky Quirk of NorCal Bats, Betty Woolley, my Girl Scout Silver Advisor, Girl Scout Sierra Rose Service Unit, and all of my generous supporters. And of course, my mom, my dad, and my sister Megan.